So this is the Apache Fluidics BlazingSpear flamethrower. It's super light, it's super comfortable, it's super compact. You can throw it in the trunk of your car. Unlike our very powerful M2 M9, it's much more affordable than the M2 M9, but it still has a 50-foot range. It's still twice as powerful, at least, as anything else out there, way more powerful than the X15. But what we heard when we made the M2 M9, which is the most powerful flamethrower you can buy, so we did that. This is lighter than the X15, it's twice as powerful, it's almost half as expensive. Look, I can jump up and down in it. You could never do that in our M2 M9. You could just throw it in your trunk. This thing is super cool, but it still gives you the feeling of what it's like to fire a military flamethrower. It's actually not that much less exciting to fire than our full power M2 M9, but for a fraction of the cost, way more comfortable, way more convenient, way easier to store. And because I'm an aerospace engineer with a master's from Stanford University, in other words, I'm a rocket scientist, and we have the best experience of anybody in the flamethrower industry. In fact, we started the consumer flamethrower industry. We sold the first consumer grade flamethrower out there, and then everybody else basically copied us. But because we have that optimal experience and we can make something like the M2 M9, which is full out badass, full power, full performance, we can then take that same experience, that same knowledge, to make the best, more reasonable flamethrower that you can go out into a large backyard. If you've got maybe 75 feet of space and everything's green around you, you're not gonna light everything on fire with this like you would with the M2 M9. Talk the science and engineering behind this really quickly because it is super cool. So the name of the game is high pressures and high flow rates. So you need very high pressure tanks. Now the key is you can have 0 flow constrictions anywhere in that path. If you have 1 constriction, it dramatically slows down the fuel, it drops the pressure after it, and then you're never going to get the flow rate. And the flow rate is everything for the performance.
It took us 6 months of researching, development, and testing nozzles, valves, tanks, everything you can imagine in order to get our first design, which had somewhat reasonable performance, about a third the power and performance of this design, and then several more years of testing, development, and having to ultimately custom machine multiple parts because there was nothing that had their capability and could get the job done the way that we needed it to be done in order to make this as safe and powerful as possible.
So what's it like to fire? Well, it is a massive adrenaline rush, unlike just about anything else I've ever done before. It's right up there with skydiving and bungee jumping. The moment you pull the trigger, it hits with this little bit of recoil, and then there's this roaring, almost cracking sound if you have enough pressure in it, and this gigantic plume of fire just shoots out ahead of you, and you feel this wave of heat just radiate down your face and your body and all over your hands, and it'll definitely leave a smile on your face for a couple hours afterwards.
But it is quite an amazing experience, and just like Ferris Bueller says, I highly recommend it.